this point, we're going to start with the cabinet behind the couches, the paintings, and any surroundings that we have in the living room. So if we look at the item cam, lift it up. Go. So as you can see, some of the living room items are hidden. Again, living room, the curtains, the painting, vase, console. So let's bring in the painting. This is the horizontal painting here. Now, there's also the vase that we can have, the tables, there's leather chair, table being in the middle. There's a tea tray on there, floating orchids, slippers, TV, and then there's a TV wall. Out of that, just the TV wall is available, and I think it's already been textured, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, with the dark wood material. So that leaves me with the doors for the cabinet behind the couch, as well as the painting. So let's go to the console. So part of the console has already been textured with the dark wood. Another one is the kitchen wood, I guess. So the first thing you want to do is add an image map. And we're going to use, again, Wood 01 bump, something that we use a lot here. Turn off the anti-aliasing and wrap to 3 on both axes. And let's change the UV map to the UV map living, I think living console is the name. There we go. Okay, change this to bump. And we're going to add a constant here, constant color for the diffuse color. And we're going to change this to a nice peachy orange. Here we go. And we're going to duplicate the bump. And we're going to choose a new image here, so load new image. And navigate to your content folder, images, PH textures, wood 01 light. Okay. Set the constant. Now, first let's set this to diffuse color for the light. And the constant, set it to multiply. Okay. And that'll darken the color on top of my wood light image, which was just added on. Tone down the specular a little bit. And if you want a little bit of a reflection, go to 4 and 50, just like the couch. Alright. So the next thing in mind is the huge horizontal painting we have. So select the painting, and as long as filter on selection is selected, you'll see it in your shader tree isolated by itself. We're going to add an image map. So add a new image map, load. Go back to the Arch Series textures here, and it's going to be called Living Room Painting. Okay. Turn off anti-aliasing. Change the UV map to Living Painting. There we go. And let's get that test light closer to the painting. Lift it up. Okay, now let's go back to the materials. Let's take the specular down to 4%, the Fresnel up to 3%, the reflections up to 3% with 10% on the Fresnel. Okay, we want to duplicate this image we had and set it to bump. It works here that we're using the actual image because the yellow strokes are a bit lighter and they'll behave as the lighter values and therefore show up as a bump on the painting as if they are actual brush strokes. We're going to add a noise layer. We're going to change the scale position to zeros and then the actual scale to 10 millimeters or 0.01 meters. Let's take the bias up to 60% and the gain to 70%. You'll see this gives me a nice noise, high contrast pattern. We're going to set this to bump. We're going to set the blend mode to multiply to use the bottom bump we already have, and set the opacity to 25%. And that should be it for the painting. Now you'll notice there's a few other bright areas in my scene. This is coming from the terrace. I just don't want these to show up in my renders as bright colors. So we're just going to select them. We're not going to fully texture. We're just going to set this to a neutral color. So it's just going to be a ground. Let's go for kind of a gray, a dark gray material. Select the concrete here. Also, just a default, kind of a defaultish gray. You can add some color to it. And we are done. This should wrap up everything we have for our living room. So feel free to clean up your item list, collapse our living room, and let's save this as living room. And we're done.